1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
What's going on, people? What's going on? It is Wake Up 5:02 after dark. Louisville football recap, end of the season, what it does mean, what it doesn't mean, and what it will mean moving forward. We are here. This is your boy, Raashaan Myers, 96.1 FM. Wake Up 5:02 host. Comes to you every Saturday morning, 9 to 11 a.m. Of course, joined as always by the architect, the man, the myth, the legend, Haven Harrington. Haven, good evening. How you doing, brother?
Man, doing great, man. After that great victory Saturday, how can you not be good?
Man, I'm telling you, like, they always say that it's not how you start, it's how you finish it. So, you know.
Man, so, let's be honest. Did anybody see a 41-0 blowout?
I did not. Shout out to Robbie6393. Said, good evening, fellas. What's going on, Robbie? Appreciate you listening. I did not expect that, Haven Harrington. Like, it was fun.
No.
It was the first time I saw you in the press box there at Papa John's or L&N Federal Credit Union Stadium in a while. So it was nice that you were able to make it out, and we were able to enjoy that together. It was awesome, the most man. I mean, packed press conference room of the year, I'd say.
Yeah, because I picked Kentucky to win because I figured it'd be a close nip and tuck game. I figured the way Louisville's been playing the past couple of weeks, we were good for about at least 1 or 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
And then I thought that somebody would get loose for Kentucky. I thought without having our 4 starting running backs, our 4 Scots running backs, our number 1 wide receiver being out, Colin Lacey being really dinged up, and then Miller Moss being dinged up, I was like, I don't see how we're going to generate enough offense. But
Louisville found a way. And, you know, my whole thing was when we talked about it on Saturday morning was, you know, there was the rumors that, of course, that we knew that Louisville probably was going to be without several guys, primarily neither of the Brown boys, Duke Watson was going to be out. So they were going to be down to kind of their last, at the very end of the bench of the running back room. We knew that Miller Moss was going to give it a go, and we heard that Chris Bell was not going to be there. But, you know, on the converse, we also heard that Kentucky had like half of their defense injured. So, you know, the way I looked at it was, well, if Kentucky has half their defense out, half of our offense is out, to me, that pretty much makes that a wash. So I felt like I trust Brown more than I trust Stoops. So, you know, I picked Louisville to win it, but I picked 2017 as a final
picked the close
score.
one.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see what happened, but it definitely came out a lot different than what I expected. Shout out, what's up, Rodney Felton checking in, said what's up, guys? What's going on, Rodney?
We got that block punt, and it was a wrap.
It was on. Like, you know, so, all right, Haven, so let me just ask you this. So, you know, unless you've been under a rock, everybody knows Louisville goes out there 41-0, just kind of puts the beat down on
belt
Kentucky.
To ass.
Yeah, it was
BTA, baby.
Yeah,
BTA.
It was an ass whooping, like without any Vaseline.
We beat Kentucky so bad they fired Stoops next day.
Literally, like the UK people that were in the press box just looked so sad and so just
they were
depressed.
Dejected, man. They were like,
they looked shocked.
Everybody expected Kentucky to win this game. I mean, Kentucky the last month they went 3-4. They've been on a winning streak. They actually been scoring points. They thought Broly was going to be the next Peyton Manning, the next Tim Couch, and he got out there and he looked like Chuck Couch.
I mean, no, you're right. I mean, they had all the momentum, right? Like that's the way everybody looked at it, was that, you know, even though Kentucky had lost to Vanderbilt the week previous, just like Louisville lost to SMU, the Kentucky had been playing better football as of late. Louisville had lost 3 in a row. They had gotten blown out in their last game. So it definitely, looked like it was supposed to be the, UK having more to play for. They had the opportunity to get bowl eligible.
They had a lot more to play for. Like Louisville, literally, because we talked about this in the show. Like Louisville really didn't have that much to play for, except to beat Kentucky's ass, and that was literally what Louisville had to play for.
Yeah,
and apparently that's what they played for because they put that belt to ass.
They did. Hairweave Killer checking in. He said, "Thank you for helping get Stoops out." So we've heard that a lot. We have heard that a lot over the last 48 hours.
This game reminded me almost like the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Almost like the Sugar Bowl, where Louisville's playing number 3 Florida. Everybody thinks Florida's going to whoop up on this. Everybody but Louisville fans thought Florida's going to win. Like Louisville fans knew there was no way in the world Florida's going to beat this defense and Teddy Bridgewater. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And when Floyd takes that interception, he tips the ball to himself, takes the first pass from Driscoll for a pick 6. The roof just explodes off the Superdome, and it was a rout after that.
Yeah, I mean, and it just seemed like that block punt kind of spurred Louisville on early. It was 0-0 at that point. You get the block punt, Kentucky's defensive line and their goal line defense does a great job of getting Louisville to 4th down. But then Miller Moss kind of does the quick sneak where he just sticks the ball over the goal line. And then from then on out, it
was over.
Yeah.
Louisville's defensive line just completely owned the big blue wall.
Clev Lubin, man. Clev Lubin is a
because
monster.
Kentucky had receivers open. Yeah. They had guys open in the backfield. They had Broly had no time to throw to anybody because he was too busy running for his life.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was domination up front. That's probably the thing that surprised me the most is that I can't remember too many Governor's Cup games where Louisville just completely dominated the offensive and defensive lines. We talked about the Elmerville game back.
We had 6 sacks.
So was that 2006 or whatever?
Yeah, 2006.
When he just went out there. 2005, where he had 6 sacks in the game?
He had 6 sacks that game. He lived in Kentucky's backfield.
Yeah, like that's the last time I really game where Louisville just completely dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides. It's probably that game because I mean the LeFew brothers was the LeFew was holding it down on the offensive side. The defensive line is just completely being dominated by Elvis. And like, this is probably the first time since then to where it just was a complete and total mismatch. You just haven't seen many games like that.
You haven't seen any games where a true walk-on freshman who has 68 yards in his last high school game in Ashland, Kentucky, runs for 113 yards. Then your other running back, who's a converted wide receiver in fall camp, still learn the position, gets like 103 yards.
Yeah, I mean,
freshman running for 100 yards. This hasn't happened at all in this series since last year when Brown and Duke did the same thing as true freshmen. Well, both Kentucky up 100 yards.
It's interesting because I think, like, just in terms of the game, I understand where Stoops and company were coming from. They looked at it like, okay, they don't have Browns back there. They don't have Watson back there. We're going to just kind of play with a 4-man front that we should be able to control the line of scrimmage with that 4-man front. And we're going to put as many guys in the coverage as possible since Moss is pretty much the only threat is going to be what Moss is going to be able to do throwing the ball. And the funny thing is that may have worked if Chris Bell had played, but I think that actually the fact that Chris Bell didn't play kind of worked against Kentucky because when Chris Bell was out there, you knew that 3 out of every 4 passes
Just
we're
going
going
his
Chris
way.
Bell's way. So it's kind of easier to kind of roll your coverage to that guy, bracket him, because most times Miller Moss decided he was going to throw it to Chris Bell, be damned if how many guys were on him. But it felt like because Chris Bell wasn't there, Kentucky really didn't know where to key their defense. And because of that, Miller Moss became like crazily accurate going to his first read.
But they
Because,
played just like a regular zone. So
yes,
Kentucky just played a 3 deep zone, and they thought, we'll make Miller Moss beat us because, being honest,
yeah,
he hasn't been able to beat anybody with his arm all season long. He
yeah,
has he has not thrown a touchdown pass since Virginia Tech.
yeah,
So
yeah. I
it,
mean,
it was
but
a sound strategy. What they did not
Moss
expect.
proved that he could put that ball
Yeah,
into those windows because there wasn't, the secondary guys draped all over him, and he was able to just kind of pick his spots. And the UK pass rush was not able to get there quick enough, and Moss made him pay. I mean,
and more importantly than that, Brom finally listened and realized once you got that running game going,
yeah.
keep running, don't stop. You don't need to throw the ball if you don't have to throw the ball, because Moss still tried to throw some
I
interceptions.
was gonna say, like in the second quarter, it felt like Brown was trying to go to the well a few too many times. Like, okay, we're gonna let Moss sling it again. It's like, okay,
He's like,
yeah,
no,
let's please stop
no.
throwing the ball.
I
And,
mean,
and,
they're eating on the ground. Just let them, and that's what they did. Like that
yeah,
last drive, the last touchdown drive, they just kept feeding them. It was like 15 plays. I think 13 of them were rushes.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Bro,
second half, I think they only threw the ball maybe 8 or 9 times the whole second half.
they didn't
You
have
know,
to. Just run down their throats.
yeah, yeah. That once Kentucky came out and they really didn't have anything going to begin the second half. I think everybody was resigned to the fact that it was over. I mean, the most fight they had that second half was, Cutter Boley getting into it on the sidelines,
After throwing the
um,
pick.
after throwing the interception, and that was pretty much it. But no, just it was an impressive game. It was very much fun. Louisville once again owns the state. Period. It's no longer a question. Louisville once again owns the state. We got all the bragging rights. Kentucky fans are just gonna have to eat that, and they can sit there and do the whole like Harold Killer said. You can talk about thank you for getting Stoops out, whatever. We hear about Louisville basketball. You might as well have won it. It's been so long, and Louisville football. Oh, we don't care because we won it. At the end of the day, Louisville's gonna do the talking for the next 365 days.
A lot of
So
talking.
you can what we need to do to cope with that is fine. But like, let me ask you this, Haven. Before the season, globally, at this season, does this game change your opinions at all? Like what Louisville was able to get done against Kentucky, does this change your opinions on the season at all when they finish 8-4,
No,
but they do have
I'll
this
make it quick.
resounding
No, it does not.
Yeah.
It makes it feel better. I feel
Yes.
better because we dog walk Kentucky,
Yes.
but just you had so much to play for, and just let it all go.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
were
I
just like
mean,
right there once again.
you predicted what, 9-3?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You predicted 9-3 before the year, and they finished at 8-4. I predicted 10-2, so they finished 2 games below where I thought they should have finished up. And considering they lost 2 games in overtime and a third by 1 point, all 3 of those games at home, they definitely should have hit both of our benchmarks and
easy.
just didn't. So I definitely look at this season as a push, and the only reason that it's a push, and I don't say it's an all-out failure, is because of how they did Kentucky at the end of the year. The fact that you beat Miami for the second time on the road, and then you dog walk Kentucky in your last game, that saves it from being a failure. But I say it's a push. I don't think
Yeah,
it's
I
positive. I don't
agree.
think it's negative. Do you agree with that?
No, I agree. It's
Yeah.
I. That's
Yeah.
all it is. Just I.
Mid,
It's not
very
it's not
mid
good.
football season, as my son would say. Very mid,
I mean,
aggressively mid.
but the things like watching them play all season, you knew they had at least 3 losses in them because of how sloppy they played, the turnovers, and everything else. So you kind of knew that they were going to drop a couple of games, but the way they dropped those games was just devastating.
Unexcusable. It's unexcusable. Robbie 6393 says, "Oh, some UK fans had the nerve to bring up the UK victory over Louisville in women's basketball and volleyball, knowing damn well that they never cared about them before." Them Kentucky fans, look, any Kentucky fan that brings up the women's game or volleyball or baseball, they know good and well none of that mess matters, and they don't care about it in the least. They are
No.
they are at ultra levels of cope. Let me tell you something. Just from what I've seen over the last couple of days with the over reaction of this Will Stein hiring news, lets you know how hard these cats are coping. Like that, because the basketball team, that their season's kind of off to
Oh,
a
just
crazy
wait.
sideways start.
Oh no. I
You
mean,
know.
it's going. UK's basketball season, I predict, is going to get worse.
They got North Carolina tonight, so Kentucky fans are just grasping onto anything that's going to make them happy, because right now their brains can't handle the fact that Louisville is dominating the state and their basketball team that they thought was going to be this juggernaut is
It's not.
looking very suspect. So they're just going with anything they can right now, and I'm trying to let them have it. I'm just like,
I
because
mean,
you know,
I'm just gonna look around and be happy when they get into SEC play for real.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
this monster roster they paid $26 million for starts to struggle. I mean, they still may win, but they're going to struggle a lot more than I think what UK fans, deep down, UK fans know these guys are going to struggle.
yeah, absolutely. So I mean, they're just looking for anything to make them feel good, and right now, Will Stein is that. Like, if shudder to say, if UK was to lose tonight, golly, they're going to act like Will Stein is literally Bear Bryant come back to life, and we're so excited because we're going to have the greatest football team ever.
I mean, you know what? I will say this: Will Steiner is a great hire for Kentucky.
Yeah,
His dad played at Kentucky. His entire family staff season tickets. They're all Kentucky fans.
yeah, yeah,
Will Stein is
definitely.
probably, even though he played for U of L, he's probably still a Kentucky fan
I think
deep
he
down.
grew up a Kentucky fan. I think he
He
grew up
did
a
grow up a
Kentucky
Kentucky
fan.
fan. His dad played for
Yeah,
UK. So he went to all the games.
yeah. So I mean, like
So, there's nothing wrong
he's
with that. He's excited. Will Stein is easily one of the best offensive minds in college football today. No doubt.
yeah,
No doubt. He's one of the best offensive minds in college football today. If you look at what he did at Texas El Paso and what he did at Oregon, it leaves no doubt. This man knows how to score points and scores a lot of
mhm.
points. The problem, we talked about this earlier. I think Will Stein's a great hire. I think he's going to do well for Kentucky. And by well, I mean by Kentucky standards of well.
Yeah,
So Kentucky's standards of well is like 7 to 8 with an occasional miracle 9-win season every like 10 years thrown in there.
yeah. And I actually, when we were texting back and forth, I disagreed with that. I said I think that Will Stein is, to me, in my personal opinion, been set up for failure, because I think that even with a better team and even with a better offense, the two things that people aren't necessarily considering, and I know Kentucky fans are, of course, in the first few days of the honeymoon phase, so they're not thinking about it. But the fact that the SEC is moving to the 9-game schedule, they're going to have to probably keep the Louisville game on the schedule. So basically, you've added an additional SEC game, and Kentucky has not been great. I don't know if you've heard this before, but Kentucky isn't great when they have to play against the SEC. They have 5 SEC road games next year versus only 4 SEC home games. So they have 9 games next year. They still have to play Louisville again next year, which means they only have 2 guaranteed wins on the schedule. And, most years, their schedule is going to look like that. So the task that, Will Stein has in front of him is a lot steeper hill than
Oh,
anything that Coach Stoops had to deal with.
it,
So,
it, it is going to be a lot
you know,
steeper. And I think they'll be able to generate points. I don't think he'll play an exciting brand of football
yeah,
that keeps UK fans engaged. To me, the other issue to me, and I think the real issue
yeah,
is Kentucky going to pony up for football NIL, or they're gonna pay most of their money to basketball NIL.
I mean, basketball
And
NIL dwarfed the football this year,
and
and
that's the thing, because other two like Vandy, a lot of people don't realize this about Vandy, right?
yeah,
If you've been to Nashville, you know Nashville is booming.
yeah,
And when the city's booming like that, there's money around Nashville. A lot of money around Nashville. There's a lot
mm-hmm,
more money pouring in Vanderbilt, especially Vanderbilt athletics, than I think a lot of people really don't give Vanderbilt the credit for, because they kept
yeah,
Pavia for a reason. It wasn't because he loved
yeah,
Vandy. He had a lot of zeros behind that check they gave him at the beginning of the season.
mm-hmm,
So
yeah.
I would not be surprised if, if you look at all the money that's pouring in Vandy, I don't think UK can match it. I
No,
really don't.
I just think this stands in a tough spot, man. Like, and this is, I know people always want to say that, oh, you're just praying against your enemy or you're scared of this. I'm just being
No,
honest from what I see. I just think
he's
that, like I said, that 9 game schedule changed like Stoops' record versus power conference team for his, career at Kentucky. He was 40-80. Okay. 40
an 80,
80.
right? 40 and 80. That's not going to get it
That's
done.
terrible.
And you look
Like,
at it, it's
it's an
like
8 game schedule with a you were dealing with a down Florida program. You were dealing with Vanderbilt, who was perennially bad. You were dealing with
the
Louisville in
Mississippi
a
schools were
tough
bad.
spot. The Mississippi schools were bad. Like, it's a lot different now. This is a different SEC. Now you have Oklahoma on the schedule every once in a while. Now you have Texas on the schedule. Texas A&M. You're playing an extra game in the SEC. Like, it's a lot harder now than even it was before. And even before Kentucky, at its high watermark, Stoops, the most successful coach in the history of UK, that dude was 40-80 in the SEC, against power conference teams. So that's why I say I look at it the way I look at it. I'm not trying to throw cold water on it, but I think that people aren't really appreciating the mountain that Will Stein has in front of him. Like, it's not going to be easy, but
I
you
understand why
know,
as I understand why he did it. His dad played UK, his family's UK fans. I understand the excitement of doing it.
he's the number one
If I
offensive
was Mitch,
coordinator. I mean,
yeah,
rated, number one rated offensive coordinator.
yeah. If I was Mitch Barnhart, actually, I probably would have pulled the trigger on Hartline, uh,
Okay.
Ohio State's offensive coordinator, only because Ohio State's
Talent.
offense is mid. Let's be honest, it's mid,
Yeah.
but it's Ohio State. His recruiting ties in Ohio, Michigan, Indiana are second to none,
Yeah.
and he already has that deep recruiting base already because that's the area he recruits anyway. And I think that would keep that pipeline going that Stoops established.
Yeah. Yeah, and the fact that UK already has a base of that's where they recruit a lot already. I mean, Stoops
Yeah,
has been known to he's been recruiting in Ohio the whole time he was there. So then you would have kind of those natural connections. So yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing, you do wonder where Stein's connections like. But I mean, but hey, look, Kentucky fans, whatever makes y'all happy, man. Good
you
on
know
you.
what?
Good
I'm
good for
telling
you.
you, Stein's going to put on an offensive show. You guys gonna be happy that first year when they're scoring points and Broly looks like Tim Couch in a couple of games. They're throwing it up and running on people and they're scoring 24 points a game, 30 points a game. You guys gonna be excited. And then like midway during the season, reality is gonna hit. And it is what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, Kentucky's a
Sorry.
coaching graveyard for a reason.
So let me ask you this. All right. So you said that at best this Louisville season was a push. Um, does the bowl game? I know that that's a ridiculous question at this point in this era. Does the
I
bowl game mean
mean,
anything to you at all?
no. I mean,
Um,
honestly, the only thing with the bowl game is another chance to see Deuce Adams start. That's
and that's exactly what I was going to ask. Like, do you want because I know a lot of people think that like Miller Moss is going to want to play in that game. Do you, if you're Jeff Brom, do you start Deuce Adams in that game?
I would start him. I don't think Miller Moss is going to play, but I think Miller Moss is smart enough to know he doesn't have an NFL career ahead of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he knows that he's not getting ready for nobody's draft. He may I don't know, he may get ready for the Louisville Kings and play some UFL ball.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah,
So
the first quarterback of the Louisville Kings. That would be,
yeah,
you
so
know,
you know he may be able to do that, but he ain't touching the league. He needs a lot more work to get to the league. And if
nah.
Lincoln Riley couldn't get him straight, and Brown could get him straight, nah.
I would tend to agree. So yeah, I mean, I think that that's probably the biggest thing that you get out of there because if Louisville starts, let's just say Louisville starts Miller Moss in the bowl game. To me, at that point, that tells me that Brom's going to be going back in the portal to look for another quarterback. Because if you had any thoughts that Deuce could be the man, I would feel like you would have to start him in that game. Like, am I
Get some
crazy
reps.
about that? Yeah,
No, he has to get some reps.
yeah, yeah. And I thought that Deuce looked pretty good against SMU. I was actually hoping to see more of what he could do against UK.
But
He
like
did get in
Brown
for a couple of
admitted in a
snaps,
press
but
conference, like after UK game, that he was a little bit too conservative in his play calling.
yeah,
Like in the SMU game, that he feels like he probably should open it up a little bit more.
yeah,
So I think we do see Deuce in the bowl game. Then yeah, I think they'll open the playbook a lot more, and we'll be able to see a little bit more of what he can do with some more downfield passing. But you know, Chris Bell, is not going to play. I don't expect any of our running backs to play.
yeah.
Honestly, in the bowl game, I think the bowl game looked like the Kentucky game as far as availability on the roster. It then
Hmm.
depends on who decides to go pro or who decides to transfer to see like who's left.
So then, all right. So then, taking it from there, what are the biggest pressing issues as we move towards this next season? You know, you got portals. Oh, portal doesn't open up until January, but you know, people are already announcing for the portal. I know that Louisville just had their transfer safety from Oklahoma. McCullough, he's put his name in the transfer portal, or announced that he's putting his name in the transfer portal already. What are the biggest things that you feel like we need to see Louisville focus on as we head into the portal season?
It depends what Brown wants to do to quarterback position. If Brown wants to get
Yeah.
another portal quarterback, I look for him to get like a top-notch quarterback and stop getting projects.
Yes.
I look for
Yeah.
him to spend some real money, get a top-notch quarterback, stop getting these projects. If he doesn't, decides to stick with the guys he has already, and Deuce and those guys decide to come back, then I expect us, and I think either way, we're gonna have to go hard on offensive linemen, hard on defensive linemen, because I know Clev, I think, has another year eligibility left.
Yeah. I've heard that they're going to try to make a big push to hold on to Cleve Lubin if they can.
Yeah, but that's not guaranteed. A couple other guys online, their time's up. So you're going to replace a lot of guys online. So I look for them to replace a lot of guys in the trenches, remake the offensive line, the defensive line. Then after that, I know they got some big commitments this week in the secondary,
Yeah.
but I still expect them probably to go get a couple of safeties and maybe some cornerbacks as well in a portal.
Yeah, I mean
And
they're
maybe,
losing a lot defensively. Tayon
yeah,
Holloway, of course, still has eligibility. So he was Louisville's best cornerback this whole season. So you would think if you can get him back, you add to a couple of other nice cover corners. I mean, Louisville's done a good job. To me, the talent on the defensive side has been strong every
it's never been.
year.
It's like to me the whole 3 years Brahma's been here. It's never been a question of talent with this team.
Yeah,
It's been a question of getting everybody to play. And I think that's some of the issues with the portal era is that if you're not like a big name team like Ohio State, Texas, guys who
yeah,
can still recruit high school, super high school talent and portal talent. So you have a mix of guys that's been in the system for a while and then a mix of mercenaries. Louisville has pretty much had to go mostly the mercenary route.
yeah,
And it just sometimes it takes a while to kind of get those guys to jail. And if you miss on one or two guys, there's not really a lot of guys you have in development that you can kind of move in to kind of take their place. I think that's what got Louisville this year. And I
hmm
think last year was bring all those new guys in on defense, and they just didn't communicate the same. That they just didn't mesh very well on defense. So I think it caused a lot of defensive lapses.
yeah. And I honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. I thought that Louisville kind of recruited the offensive line as a afterthought. I feel like they misevaluated the guys that they had on campus already, and they thought that they had good enough, and then they could just throw a couple of guys in there at the end of the cycle, and that'd be good enough. And I think that them misreading the situation at offensive line, ultimately, even more than Miller Moss, I think that was the biggest downfall of this team. I think that if Louisville had, a top 5 offensive line in the ACC, they're probably in that ACC championship game right now. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. That offensive line was terrible. It's the worst offensive line I've seen at Louisville in a long time. It's been a pretty amount of time since I've seen line was not good at run blocking. The line was not good at pass blocking. Regardless of who the quarterback, that they were 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds tops is all you're able to hold. I think that was one of the things with the Kentucky game, Haven, is that Miller Moss was able to sit back there and actually have time to throw the ball. More time to throw the ball than we've seen all year long. And we saw that when Moss had the opportunity, he could deliver the ball down the field pretty decently when he had time. And that's not something that we really saw all year.
No, it wasn't, because, like you said, offensive line, especially the first part of the year, offensive line really, really struggled. And it wasn't until they got Sylvester back mid-season that they really kind of started to take shape. And then it wasn't so much pass blocking, but then their run blocking really, really took shape.
Yeah.
But then everybody got hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I definitely think there's a lot to work on. I think that this, I'm glad that Miller Moss had the opportunity to kind of come back and have that nice little moment at the end of the year. But I agree with you. I don't need any more broken quarterbacks. I don't need any more guys that are reclamation projects. I don't need guys that have never been able to play because they was hurt every year, even though Tyler Shuck ended up doing okay.
So, like,
I don't want to see that anymore.
It's like Mendoza from Indiana wanted to come here, but we wanted to go with the higher profile quarterback, Miller Moss. Like, how much different would this team have been?
Yeah.
With Mendoza at QB versus Miller Moss.
Yeah, I mean, just that at the end of the day, and I know that Mendoza also there was some timing issues where Moss was willing to come in immediately in December, where Mendoza wanted to graduate from Cal before he came to Louisville, and he wasn't going to be able to join Louisville until like the summer or whatever, until the things kind of got going in June or whatever. So I know that there was some issues behind it, but I agree with you. Like, if there's a guy that's that level of player that wants to be a part of your program, you got to make that happen. Like, you have to make that happen. If you're going back to the portal, you need to start, because you can't have. I have yet, Haven, in our 3 years, the closest thing that we've gotten to the Jeff Brom team was last year. With Louisville's offense last year when they were putting up about 38 points per game.
That was the ultimate Jeff Brom team, because it also didn't have any defense, which is also Jeff Brom hallmark.
Yeah. So, like, if we're going to see Brom take this thing to the next level, you can't miss on the offensive line. You need to have at least a quarterback that's on his way up his progression, not a dude who has fallen to the basement, lost his job, and is living on the streets. And then you're going to try to bring him back like Shane Falco. Like, we don't need no more Shane Falcos, man. Like, please. Just, let's go ahead, get a star. What you think about Cal's quarterback, Jerron Kawhi Sagapalatelli?
I thought it was good. I've seen him play like 3 times.
Yeah.
And I saw him play in the beginning of the season because there was a lot of hype around him. And I was okay. I could see the talent. And then towards the end of the season, I could really see, okay, this guy, but at the end of the season, he got it. He was like
live arm, live legs, goes through his progressions, great,
makes good decisions.
Yeah, great fundamentals. Like, to me, he looks like a dude that like Brom could really work with.
Yeah.
Even though I would feel sorry for the press box dude, because he'd have to say Sagapalatelli 80,000 times every week. But other than that, I think that dude would be an absolute star in the Brom system, and him being a freshman this year would mean that he had at least 2 years left at Louisville. But, if Deuce Adams is going to be that guy, hey, maybe you just become that guy, and Louisville looks to put that money into the offensive line and put it into the skill position players, and going along and just kind of re-upping the defense and getting that where it belongs. And if that's the way that they decide to go with it, I'm not mad at that. Like, not at all. So, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens with that. Louisville is in a very interesting spot as a football program. Now that you've gotten through kind of the honeymoon period, now you're into uh, the marriage with Jeff Brom. So now everybody knows his strengths, everybody knows his weaknesses. So now it's about how we gonna make this thing last and how we gonna make this thing as good as it can be. And I think that's where we're at in the build with Louisville football at this point, is trying to figure out, like, we understand what we've done well, we've understood what has not gone well. And to me, I think that if you're a Louisville fan, you've got to be encouraged that defense, the defensive side of the ball has been the most successful area and the most successful unit for Louisville, because nobody expected for Jeff Brom to have these perennially good defensive teams. And of course, we know what happened in year two with the communication issues and just not having the right mix of players. But when the defense has been that good, you would think that Jeff Brom, like, to me, it feels, and Haven, you can tell me if you disagree, like, as far as I'm talking about, kind of the Louisville football moving forward, with the fact that the Louisville defense has been so good, for most of the time that Jeff has been here, you would think, with the problems being more on the offensive side, with this being a Jeff Brom coach team, you would think that would be a good thing, that Jeff would be able to know how to get his offense together if we can just keep the defense playing at the level that they are right now.
Yeah, I think so. I think Jeff's problem is that he just hasn't let loose yet.
Yeah.
I think he is still being a little conservative. I think he knows ACC is definitely winnable. And I think he's trying to do it the right way rather than do it the Brom way, which is just all out aerial assault. But
Yeah.
he really hasn't even got a trigger man to, like, really, outside of Shuck, he's never had the trigger man to do what he wants to do yet.
Yeah.
So I think for Jeff, the big thing is to relax, to let it go, let English work, let English and defensive guys do what they do, and then you just worry about slinging the ball. Because of the 2 to 3 years you've been here, you're known as offensive coach, but you're really known as a quarterback guru and a passing coach
Yeah.
with a lot of passing offense. But literally for even last year, the strongest part of your offense has been the running game. For the past 3 years,
Yeah.
the strongest part of our offense has been the running game.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's clearly a lot of things that need to be worked out. Let me ask you this. If it's going to take you a significant portion of your NIL to keep Isaac Brown around, do you do that, or do you roll with the younger backs? Do you roll with trying to bring back Keywan and, LeKay Tompkins coming in from IMG Academy? Do you let Isaac walk and try to put those funds elsewhere?
This is why I'm not an NFL GM of decisions like this. Isaac by far is the most explosive back we have.
Maybe the best running back in the country, literally.
By far. He has some fumbling issues, and as of late, health issues. So he's definitely need a backup.
But I mean, it's gonna cost you a pretty penny to keep him.
Yeah, in a perfect world, you keep Isaac, Keywan, let Deshaun go.
Yeah.
You let Deshaun Watson go and bring in your true freshman. Those
Duke
will be your top
Watson.
3 running backs. Huh? Duke Watson, excuse me. Don't get Deshaun Watson. What they got Clemson for?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, you let Duke go. You do everything you can to keep Isaac and Keywan. And your star 2 freshmen coming in, and you roll with those 3.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way. I mean, I would love to keep Isaac, but if the asking price is too much, like, I don't want to get into a bidding war with, say, Texas, or a bidding war with Oklahoma, or a bidding war with Alabama. Like,
so I think
what I mean?
last year, I thought he was going. It was either him or Duke that wanted to go to Texas.
Yeah. I think it was Duke. I believe. Well, I know. Somebody who was it? Ole Miss wanted Chris Bell.
Yeah.
I mean, Louisville's had to fight off some guys, for some of these guys. And I think that just to me, I think the price tag for Isaac is going to be so much so. Like I can see him getting $1 million, $1.5 million offer. And if I'm Louisville, I'm not paying. I mean, I love Isaac. I'm not paying that, Hayes. I'm
No,
not
yeah,
paying
you know
like,
what?
especially because Louisville's been able to find success at the running back position and be successful. And while you love the superstar home run ability of Isaac Brown, I just don't know if it's worth that big of a chunk of your NIL. Does that make sense? Like it
I mean, it makes perfect
just,
sense. You keep Keywan. Hopefully, the freshman is what you think he can be.
I mean, you saw a lot of promise out of Braxton Jennings and Sean Boykins Jr. So, you would think if you have those three guys, including Keywan Brown, and then you're bringing in Tompkins as well as a true freshman, plus you still have the other 4-star running back who got injured earlier as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have a lot of talent at the like. I don't know if it's worth it to spend that money. I just don't. I'd love to keep Isaac, but I would expect that Isaac's going to be somewhere in the SEC next year. Honestly, I'm just going to be real.
I agree.
I do. But I think that we're in a good place. I think that Louisville's is in an excellent spot. But I feel like if as long as they can replenish the defensive talent and Jeff Brom can figure out that offensive line, I would even be okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I like Duke, or Deuce Adams. I like Deuce Adams. Like if Brown was to come out and say, you know what, we're not going to really go after a quarterback. We're going to roll with Deuce Adams, Mason Mims, Briggs Cherry, and we're going to make one of those guys a starter. I would be honest with you. I would be comfortable with that. Would you be comfortable with that, or do you?
I'll be fine with that too. That way you can spend all the
Yeah,
money on the offensive line, get a
yeah.
top tier offensive line, get a top
Get
tier
a get a
defensive
number
line.
one get a number one wide receiver because you're going to need that with Chris Bell being gone.
Mm-hmm.
you know yeah, so I mean I'm in agreement with that. I'm excited to see how that goes, and where Louisville looks to turn to. Of course we do have to give out our final. We did not give out that boy's good player of the week for last game last
And
week.
there's a reason for that.
What's that reason, Haven Harrington?
Louisville stunk up Dallas.
That was
My idea was to
literally,
give it to the fans who made the trip.
yeah. Like there was nobody worth giving it to, and as our great partner Joe Kelly would have looked at us and been like, "Man, I'm not giving it to none of these chumps." I literally know that's what Joe would have said. So, with this award being named after him, we just did not feel that it would be right to just hand somebody that award. So, nobody
But
got
this
it
week,
last week for SMU, but this week we do. This week we do. So, drum roll, please. And congratulations if you all would not if you I know you're shocked by this, but we have co-players of the week. They both deserved it for what they were able to do. Congratulations, Braxton Jennings, Sean Boykins Jr., 42 carries, Haven Harrington, for 214 yards and a touchdown. Absolutely dominated the game. Both freshmen, both dynamic. One was more thunder, the other one was more lightning. But hey, man, like,
got the job done.
you know what I'm saying? Braxton Jennings got the Howard Schnellenberger Award for the player of the game. He got the Louisville Slugger bat awarded to him after the game, which was awesome to see. And for two kids that grew up in the state, of course, Braxton from Ashland, Kentucky, went there to Ashland Blazer High School. Sean Boykins is from North Hardin, and they're in Hardin County. So two kids from the state. To be able to come out and just do their thing. Like I don't feel like there was a better way to end our That Boy's Good Player
I
of the
mean, there
Week
wasn't.
award
I
for
mean,
the year.
you talking about the two guys, two freshmen on the highest stage with zero expectations. Nobody thought they could do this, and you just run down Kentucky's throat. Stoops being a defensive guy. This just took his heart and soul.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, literally, just crush you. I mean, and for it to be kids, because you would think that Braxton growing up in Ashland, I'm pretty sure that pretty much that 98% of everybody who lives in Ashland, Kentucky, is a Kentucky fan. So more
Yes.
than likely or not, he probably, if he was not pulling for UK, I'm sure most of his family was. For him to be able to come out there as a kid who did not have a single FBS offer, came and walked on at Louisville, and 7 months later dude is holding that Louisville Slugger bat as a true freshman. That is an unbelievable,
Your
you
very
know,
first game, you run for
time.
113 yards.
I mean, just
Insane.
unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I mean, it was unbelievable. Um, just exciting. Just I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I loved it. I did highlight both these kids, but especially Sean Boykins. I thought that, I liked his wiggle. I liked the way, I liked his vision. I liked how he was very assertive and aggressive in how he attacked whenever he saw the hole. He didn't waste time and just kind of went forward. And for a guy who's not necessarily that big, runs very strong. Both those
And
guys
he runs
hit.
hard.
Yeah, both of those guys run hard. Like Braxton definitely is looking for the other end of a car crash every time he runs the ball. Like, so I just loved it. I'm so excited for those two guys. The fact that they were able to get it done. Congratulations, Braxton. Congratulations, Sean. These are two guys that, I know Sean was here, has been on scholarship. Um, he's been on scholarship for the last 2 years as a redshirt freshman. Came in as a highly touted wide receiver out of North Hardin. But Braxton was a walk-on, true freshman. I would expect at this point, Haven, I would think he would have a scholarship waiting on him. Don't you think, for next year?
I would agree. I mean, these guys went from the scout team to, being talked about on national television.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I no, I totally agree with it. I'm super excited for those two guys. So can't wait to see more. We have one more That Boy's Good Player of the Week trophy that'll be given out, and of course that'll be after the bowl game. So cannot wait to see what happens there. We do got a couple of more comments, Haven Harrington, before we get out of here. Robbie said, is the scary part about the lineman talk is that with everything, everything that we're talking about, to only still lose 2 overtime games against Virginia and California and a close one to Clemson. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
considering how bad that was my thing. And that's why people that, there were some people out there like Jay has calling in on the show, the last 2 weeks talking about Fire Brom, and anybody who's been talking about Fire Brom, I'm like, do you understand that Louisville has been flirting with the ACC championship game in even the last 2 years, considering all of the issues that they had? Last year, it was the defense awful, and Louisville was still right there flirting with the playoff. Had they not lost to Stanford on a ridiculous personal foul at the end, and this year you lose 3 games by a total of 7 points. You're right there once again. I think that there's no doubt Brom is the dude, but to me, and you can tell me if you disagree, it just feels like Brom needs to change a few things about how his operation runs and how he
It's
gets
just,
teams prepared.
every every coaching stop you make is a little bit different. It takes time to adjust.
Yes.
And he's adjusting from Western to Purdue to here. It takes a little time to adjust. Dabo Sweeney wasn't Dabo Sweeney overnight. I mean,
Yeah,
Clemson.
that's
I mean,
fair.
Clemsoning was a thing for most of Dabo's career, and then he got it going. And for the better part of 6, 7 years, he had it humming.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just
And
one of those things where it's Brom to me has recruited well enough and prepared teams well enough to be able to get a big win every year. But he's also not necessarily prepared his team to be able to week in and week out come out and play at a consistent level. And I think that's something that he has to learn. It's his 3rd year. Like at Purdue, it was good enough to just, hey, let's have a nice little novelty win every year or every other year. And that's good enough because Purdue was crap before he got there. But at Louisville, now that you're at a team and a program where the aspiration is a national championship to make the playoff and make noise, that takes a different skill set. And I think that Brom is still learning how to fine tune those things. And he said as much after the Kentucky game. He said that, we think that we're right there. but we feel like there's just some little things that we need to fine tune and some things that we need to clean up to take it to that next level. So I think Jeff is absolutely close. I just think that, like you said, Haven, it's just a learning process.
Yeah, it's just a process, man.
We got one more comment. Robbie also said he's been disappointed in how Braum has forgotten about the tight end position. I mean, I think that the tight end position was definitely utilized this year. It seemed like the tight ends had more big plays this year than last year. The transfer uh, from Miami, whose name escapes me at the moment. I liked, number 88. I liked what he did. Nate Kariski had his moments as well. I mean, the tight ends have not gotten utilized much, but honestly, I'm going to be real with y'all. I think that the tight ends would have been utilized more if Miller Moss had the ability to get through his progressions. I mean, Miller Moss was really look at my first progression, and if he's not there, throw it to my dump off to the running back. Like, that's pretty much all he had the ability to do. Miller Moss wasn't a guy who'd go first read, second read, third read. Okay, now go to my dump off. Like Miller Moss just didn't have that skill set. And I
Not
think
at
that
all.
the tight ends were good enough to be able to be utilized for that. But I will tell you this, write this name down, remember it. Kid's going to be a stud. I don't know if he'll be a stud next year, but Julius Miles, he's a consensus top 100 player. Okay. Julius Miles had offers from everywhere. He's a big time tight end out of Florida, 6'6", 240 or so pounds, super athlete, speed, hands, everything. He did, he looked at possibly, Miami wanted him badly. They tried to flip him. They were not able to flip him. Julius kept his commitment, and he will be signing. He announced he's going to be signing here in the next week or so. So we're going to have Louisville's next, prospective stud tight end coming in. So just to
And some of the other tight end positions, why you didn't see him a lot in pass coverage because there were a lot of blocking.
yeah,
They would use a lot of run blocking game and
yeah.
kind of come in for pass protection, and also to kind of come in and do a little misdirection to get Chris Bell and some of the other receivers open. So that's some of the other reasons why you didn't see a lot of the tight ends
But
get
I
a
mean,
lot
hey,
of
James
work.
Stewart got that touchdown on that
Yeah,
nice fourth down play where it was 4th and 1. Braum goes to the heavy play action, play fake, and Stewart was wide open and just kind of sashayed into the end zone. So, hey, got a touchdown pass. With every position got a touchdown against Kentucky. I mean, who am I kidding? I mean, everybody got in on the act. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I'm excited for it. I think Louisville's close. It does suck that Louisville should be playing in this ACC championship game, in my personal opinion. But hey, sometimes it takes a while. Like you said, Haven, it just takes a little bit to get where you want to go. Do you have any kind of like final thoughts or final commentary on this Louisville football season before we
I
get ready
am
to go
so
here?
excited to see how we work this off season. I'm excited to see what Big Dog Vince can do as far as bringing in top shelf talent, especially on the lines. So I'm excited to see what direction Louisville goes in, especially at the quarterback position.
Sounds good. Same. I mean, the quarterback question is going to be my biggest question. Second biggest question is, will Louisville be able to hold on to Clev Lubin for another year? And the decision on Isaac Brown. Like, those are probably the biggest questions. I think that Louisville will do fine, in the transfer portal looking for offensive linemen. Hell, I would literally take Boston College's whole offensive line. Those dudes impressed me mightily. For as bad as Boston College was, their offensive line probably graded out as one of the best offensive line units in the ACC. So I think we'll be fine there. I think Brown just needs to make it a priority. But no, I think that's about all I have in terms of the football season to date. Like I just don't think that for Louisville there's too much. This season, Haven Harrington, to me, and you can disagree with you wrong. To me, this season just goes down as another missed opportunity for Brian Brom. I mean, for Jeff Brom and Brian Brom. Honestly, I just
Yeah,
think
both of them.
it comes down to a missed opportunity. It was an opportunity for something great to happen that did not happen. So you know, kind of is what it is, unfortunately. And let me just remind everybody, don't forget about our great sponsors at the Feet First store in Jeffersonville, Indiana. Feet First is helping Kentuckiana move better, feel better every day. If you are dealing with plantar fasciitis, knee pain, back pain, or you spend all day on your feet at work, they have you covered. Their personally fitted orthotic system is designed to improve balance, alignment, and overall comfort. Athletes can see better stability and performance, and everyday workers get the relief they need to keep going strong. Schedule your appointment by calling 812-725-0208, or you can, of course, visit feetfirststore.com to book online. You can find Feet First, the Feet First store at 2781 Jefferson Center Way in Jeffersonville, Indiana. So make sure you tell the good folks out there at Feet First, if you talk to Chris or any of the other great folks out there, let them know that Wake Up 502 sent you over there. Tell them Raashaan and Haven we're talking good about them. So we definitely appreciate them, and I appreciate everybody for listening. This is Raashaan Myers for Haven Harrington, like we always say, without struggle.
Hey, there is no progress.
Peace, y'all. Appreciate it. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook. Check out Haven Harrington at ME Sports. Check out me at Raashaan for all the latest in Wake Up 502s going on.